Guys? Welcome to my fifth installment of my top five series. This week is going to be on Macklemore. So, just like Machine Gun Kelly, it was pretty tough to pick only five songs out of his catalog. But number five is Same Love. Uh, no matter how you feel about gay rights, you have to admit that this stirred up a lot of controversy and really opened up a lot of eyes to the issue. Um, and that's one of the things that I think Macklemore does better than any other artist is he's very conceptual. He doesn't rap about money, fame, bitches, drugs, all the quote unquote stereotypical rap shit. Like he puts himself in his music and he puts real issues in his music and he speaks upon how he feels through his music, whether you agree or not, which I really do admire about him. But this is really just talking about how it's not wrong for two people of the same sex to like each other. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of like just because you don't feel the same way doesn't mean you can infringe on their rights, which I completely agree. I am all for gay rights, whether you love it or hate it. I just, in my mind, I don't understand why legislation should be able to decide um, how somebody should feel, and that would be like the 21st Amendment slavery, as in like some people wanted it, some people didn't. But either way, the fact that they should be free is is the only logical conclusion. Correct? There's nobody in America today would be like that. We should still have slavery. They're fucked up. That's not the generalized opinion. So why is this any different? Like I get it's a different topic, but these people are still being enslaved in a different way. Being told that you can't feel a certain way because of your sexual orientation is bullshit. It's a different type of chain, but they're still being held back and um, being kind of condemned and outlawed because of the way they feel. So there are similarities between these two things, and I think that this song is a fantastic work of art that really propelled the discussion of gay rights and civil rights in general. Uh, so then we come to number four, which this song to me is a big it's like looking in a mirror, pretty much, because he realizes exactly what he is and what he wants in this song. So this song called Jimmy Levine or Jimmy Iovine, I think it's Jimmy Levine or Levine. He's either way, he's whatever his name is. Excuse me for not knowing the specifics, but he is a big label executive at Interscope Records, which they have signed like Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Eminem, like they have big names. Uh, and he is dead broke at this point in his life. He's really really broke, and he knows that if he gets that check, uh, he'll be okay. He has he'll get money from the label for his creations, and then he won't be so dead broke. And he talks about that just the opening lines is just the sheer desperation. Like I'm just gonna run in and attack these people. Like I'm so desperate. I need this. Um, and he walks through the doors, and he's looking at all these plaques on the wall, right, of all these artists who had these great albums, and he's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me. And then he looks and he sees all of the artists who had a hit number one album but never got a number two. Artists that were great freshmen but dropped out as sophomores, and now he doesn't want to be like that. And so he just the whole time, he's getting introduced to all these executives and whatnot, and then he comes into he finds the office of Jimmy Iovine. There's a cold hand on his neck, is how he describes it, and the guy's like, he's going through the contract negotiation part, and he's like, well, after the executive tells him, after the lawyers, the the publications, the studio time, everything that encompasses creating the music and kind of advertising and getting it out to the people. Uh, Between the merchandise and the record sales and the money that you make on tour, you and Ryan will have 7% to split. He's like, that's not bad. I've seen a lot worse. And Macklemore's just like, well, I respect the offer. I thought this is what I wanted, but I'd rather be a starving artist than succeed in getting fucked. So it's like a realization, like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I want. Like everybody's like, I want to get signed to a label, right? I want to be that type of Eminem or 50 Cent, or Jay-Z, whatever big name you want to put out there, even like a G-Eazy or a Logic nowadays. But they have different contracts. Uh, but to be in that moment of a clarity moment of realization, like this is what I've wanted my whole life. I'm desperate. I need this. I've put the work in. I have the great music. I have a following, but I'm not making as much money as I could if I had a label. And being able to take a step back and realize they're going to take control of me, my creating, my music, and my career. And I don't want somebody else's hands or anybody else's influences corrupting um, my platform, what I've built. So Jimmy Levine is just a realization, and that's why it's at number 4. Because sometimes you might get to a certain level, to a certain point, where you could get that type of recognition to get signed, and then you realize you don't want it. So that's Macklemore's Independent. So then number 3, St. Itis. This song really caught me because of the guitar part in this song, but the lyrics are good, and he's talking about how much his city has changed and how it's not as diverse. People don't know each other. Like he felt like when he was growing up, it was a small town. Everybody knew everybody, and now he doesn't know anyone. And he doesn't want his daughter to grow up in a place like that. Like landmarks have been torn down. He says overpopulated, but can seem like a ghost town. Like he's lost friends, and he could remember back when it was full of life and exuberance, and he knew people, and he doesn't. Um, and then he talks about his past vices, as in the alcohol that he used to steal from his dad, and how that propelled into the addictions that he had later on in life, and then his parents' house when they split up, I guess. He accepts that I don't know the specifics behind his story, but from what it sounds like, either his parents got a divorce and this was their house. He says moved away and they sold the house. It's really hard to ignore it now. Last couple sips pour it out. So it's talking about how the alcohol that he started with this small thing, like a small amount, and it's just this has stayed with him through the progression of the obstacles in his life. So he turns to that. So, and that, I mean, everybody has their own struggles, and I'll get more into it in the next couple because the next 2 songs are pretty deep. But this song just has that relaxed delivery that I really enjoy by Macklemore. So, yep, St. Itis, number 3. And then number 2, here's where we get into the really deep stuff. This one is called Kevin. He says, look at Kevin. Now he's wrapped in plastic. First dealer was his mom's medicine cabinet. Got anxiety, better go and get him a Xanax. Focus, give him Adderall. Sleep, give him Ambien. Till he's walking around the city looking like a mannequin. Ups and downs shifted by prescriptions you handed him. That there is so realistic, as in, like, nowadays, like, if you have an issue, you can just take a fucking pill. Like, I mean, and if you personally know me, you know I've had issues with this as well. So I connect. The last 2 songs are about pill popping and his addictions, but, like, I really connect with the music, and that's what is supposed to happen when you create music. You're supposed to get somebody. There's different types, mind you, but Macklemore is a very conceptual person, and you can tell that he, like, took a razor blade, he cut out the darkest part of his soul, and just pushed it in the music, just molded that pain into something that could be beautiful and interpretive and connecting with other people. Because, like, when I listen to Kevin, I think of myself. I see myself in a plastic bag because of the pills that I took, and that's crazy. That, I mean, I'll admit it. It's it's whatever. It's in the past, but the fact that I can connect that much with this song says a lot about Macklemore as an artist. That proves that he's one of the realer people in the hip hop community, in the hip hop genre, because he can make you stand, not only stand in his shoes, but he stands in yours. It's a very rare thing to feel that connected to a song like that. So because I've had issues with that, Kevin's number 2, and then number 1 is Starting Over, which again is about his addictions. But this song to me is very crazy because he he talked again about his addictions, but in a different light. He was sober for 3 years. He even put, I don't remember what the date exactly was, but he put it in the song. He was sober for a consecutive 3 years. He didn't do, he was clean. And then he had a temptation and he slipped. And I've done that before. I wouldn't consider myself an addict, but I've had a history with prescription or medication. Uh, but when you slip up, I mean, it's so hard. It's such a struggle to not go back because you like once you develop a tendency like that in your brain, like it's an urge. It's almost like it's a fiending for that feeling. Because when you feel sad or something, you're like, oh, take a pill, get high off of it. Make it alters your mind state to make you think that you're okay. But what I've learned is like either with alcohol, with pills, with weed, whatever whatever you decide, whatever your thing is. No matter how high you get, or how good you feel, or how numb it makes you feel inside, you wake up from that. Hopefully, um, but you know what I mean. With any addiction, the high is high and the low is so rock bottomly low. And again, he talks about a girl who comes up to him and tells him that other side saved her life, and how she's been sober for like 6 or 7 months. And he's standing there and simply acknowledges the fact that she's sober, shakes her hand and says, congratulations. That was 3 days. That's how sober he was at that point. He had been sober for 3 days, talking to somebody else about the influence his music had and how it affected her, but how screwed up he is. He's like, how can I be a preacher and preach, overcome this, like people have struggles, but you can get through it. How can I tell her that everything's going to be okay, that she can stay sober if I'm the one who wrote the music that inspired her, and I'm back in the cycle of stumbling into darkness. So just the fact that he's open enough to share that situation, I can't even imagine how just to inspire somebody to do something that incredible, and then to be struggling with it yourself as you're listening to it, as you in your head, you're just like, oh my god, I know, like, look at what I did for this person, and I can help this person, but I can't help myself. How does that look if I'm the voice of reason and I can't overcome the demon she has overcome through the music that I made? I don't, so starting over is number one, because he shares his darkness, uses it to help somebody else come into the light, become sober, but then also at the very same time, as he's helping people, he's struggling himself and openly admits that he needs help, and openly tells his family and friends that he's still having an issue. That's as real as you can possibly get. That is realer than any gang song, than any pop bottles get bitches and money. That is hip hop. That is what it is right there. Starting Over by Macklemore. If you have a different order for these songs to be in, which after my rant, I highly doubt that you could even contend that these aren't in the right order. But if you have a different order, a different opinion, let me know. Remember that this is episode 5, so we have 4 more episodes that preceded this. So I'll put a link somewhere around here. So subscribe. The link to the playlist will be there. And I'll see you guys next time. Macklemore Top 5.